بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. كل عام وأنتم بخير. This is the last session before Ramadan, inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us a chance to welcome the month of Ramadan and to accept our all of our good deeds, inshallah. Still talking about the invalidators of the prayers. Things that you might do and result in invalidating your prayer. Tonight, inshallah, we'll talk about two things. The first one is تنحنح. تنحنح in Arabic, usually people they do it to fix their throat, fixing their throat. Like this, something like that. The vast majority of scholars, Hanafi and Shafi and Hanbali, they said tanahnuh. When you say like this, it's creating two letters, Hams and Ha or Hams and Ha. Sometimes it depends on the way you are using to clear your throat. And they said if you did this without a valid reason, without a cause for this, this will result in invalidating your prayer. And they made some exceptions. One of the exceptions, if you are reading loudly and you got some obstacles in your throat and you need to fix your throat, like this, to fix your throat. For the imam or the one who's reading, or even if you are not an imam, but you are reading behind the imam, and you got something heavy in your throat and you would like to clear it, in this case, it will be fine. Second, also they said, if the imam did something wrong and you don't want to speak, you'd like to give him just indication that you did something wrong, so you might also do like this, if you know that your imam will understand this. And the third thing Hanafi excluded from this, they said if you are praying and someone is calling you and you would like to get his attention to you that you are praying, you are busy, if you might also, someone is looking for you, your son, or and keep calling your name, if you would like to give indication that you are in the prayer, if you might also do this. Other than that, they said this will invalidate your prayer if you did it without a valid reason. The exception that the Ahnaf made, they use hadith, but this hadith is munqata, is not, the chain has some gap between Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib and the reporter. There is a one gap here, but they said that Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib, he said, I used to go and visit the Nabi twice, once during the day, once during the night. And whenever I come to him while he's praying, he gives me indication by tanahnuh, like this, that I am busy in my prayer. The second thing, which is this is the vast majority of scholars, Malikiyya versus this, versus the Shafi'i and Hanafi and Shafi'i and Hanbali. They said it's makruh, but will not result in invalidating your prayer, even if you did it intentionally. This is one of the causes to invalidate your prayer. The second thing, which is also important to understand, crying in the prayers. People cry usually in the prayers for a reason. They are influenced by the recitation, for example, of the imam, his sound lead to this, or because they are they feel that they are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we call it humbleness, khushu'. Or maybe they cry because something outside of the prayer. For one of them has nothing to do with the prayer. One of his relatives died, and he remembered while he was fine in the beginning of the prayer. He just remembered, he started crying. The cause of the crying is not linked to the actual activities of prayers. يعني they cry in ركوع, for example. ركوع, there is no recitation. Or they are not listening to Imam, they cry in the sacred prayers, but they are not listening to the Imam. I will give the details of the school of practice. The Ahnaf, they said, and this also they have details. Hanafi Mazhab. They said if the crying has a cause, that because of the humbleness, khushu' in the prayer, it's caused because of the prayer itself, or because of the recitation of the Imam, then your prayer is fine. However, they don't encourage to do it loud, or to do it in a way that if someone saw you from outside, he thinks that you are not in a prayer. And to be honest with you, sometimes people, they exaggerate this issue, and they give you an impression that they are not under control. Imam Ibn al-Jawzi said, when you recite a few verses for one of them, he starts shaking and getting out of control, crying. So I said, I suggest put them on the edge of a roof, edge of the roof, and cry the entire Quran. They will not feel anything. But I was attending a prayer in Egypt, and this was one of the rare experience for me. The Imam just starting, it's for a group, Islamic movement, and they used to go over there. Someone invited me, against my will, but I went there, and the Imam just said, Allahu Akbar, and started saying, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The entire message started shaking. He said, we are not there yet. Just at least Al-Fatiha, listen to Al-Fatiha. And when he also heard them crying this way, he started reading from verses talking about hellfire. فَبِكَيْم like you are in condolence, like you are in a janazah. Everyone is crying, and the one who was next to me, he started shaking in a way, with a huge beard. You can see it's shaking and shaking his body to the extent that I got scared. Is this normal, or why I'm not crying? Everyone is crying on my right and my left, and these people, they are about to do something else. I was not there before. Maybe they will move to another actions. I think there was a lot of exaggeration. And the Ahnaf also said, if you are listening to the recitation of the Imam and out of control, you are admiring the recitation, if I said yes, or you said any word as appreciation for the recitation, na'am, for example, in Arabic, they said also, if it's coming out of control, it will not invalidate your prayer. But if the cause of crying because of something outside of the prayer, like you just lost someone and you remember in the prayer started crying, the Ahnaf said this will lead to invalidation of the prayers. Shafi'i, they are the extreme in this. They said all of the cryings, if it's related to a khushu' or related to the recitation or related to outside of the prayer, it will invalidate the prayer. This again is the ethics of the prayer. People, there is, as far as you are creating a recognized sound. Recognized sound is like this. It's two letters, hams and ha. So if you are crying, well, create any sound, recognized sound. This will lead to invalidation of the prayers. And by the way, the crying of the Sahaba was not like this. They were like, they said like boiling from inside. Like you are boiling water, covered a container. So you don't hear the sound, just you hear something inside. Is not like the way we do it nowadays. And finally, Maliki and Hanbali, they agreed that if you are crying because of khushu' in the prayer or because of the recitation, this will not make your prayers invalid. I say that and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to teach us what is right in this matter and many other matters. Any questions or comments?
How about when recitation of the dua? So generally when we have a prayer tarawih, is that also part of the prayer, obviously?
Yeah, it's because of the prayer itself. Maybe you heard something that affect you, that will fall under the khushu' of salah. The issue is that if you are out of control, means you cannot control your feelings because of the recitation, because of the dua, that's okay. It's not something recommended, but that's okay. But sometimes we try to do it. This is the issue. And people, they also report a hadith is not authentic in this. Read with crying, and if you are not crying, try to cry. And why should I try to cry? The main thing in the prayer is to focus, not to cry. Crying, you can cry outside, but the prayer is just for focus on the prayer, for dhikr and recitation.
One question. So the crying, is it related to the making of the sound or the crying itself? Like if someone cries, like water comes out from the eyes or something, but not making any sound.
No, this is not crying. The crying, what we are talking about, that you are making a sound. Like all the Sahaba all the time, they used to have this feeling inside. But this is not a cry, unless you make a sound, we don't call it crying. May Allah bless you.